Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? We're about to do the predictions and breakdowns for UFC Fight Night Magny versus Carlos Prates, which is coming to you on November the 9th, 2024. We're going to start with the prelims and end with the main event. We're going to get right into it. I'm starting a little bit late. This should have been done earlier on Tuesday. We are now into Wednesday morning at midnight. I work at 7 o'clock. I got to do this right away. Let's do the prelim opener of Trejan Gore versus Antonio Tricoli. Or Trejan? Cheshin, I don't know. I don't. It doesn't matter. We're going with Cheshin Gore. Antonio Tricoli is primarily a wrestler, fighting Shara Magomedov or Shara Bullet Magomedov inside of his UFC debut at Abu Dhabi. Lost via KO in the third round to a left hook. Was looking like shit inside the second round. He was trying to wrestle down Magomedov. It just didn't happen. Shara had enough takedown defense to where Antonio got tired inside those rounds, getting beat up and out jabbed and out kicked. He had his lead leg beat up. He was getting comboed inside of his face consistently inside of that second round, and it seems like Trejan Gore, as long as he keeps it on the feet, him being a really good wrestler as well, I don't believe that Tricoli is going to have the advantage when it comes to the wrestling. I think Gore, even in that regard, is going to have the advantage, and Antonio's not really a good striker where I can see him keeping it on the feet. I think Gore, if he really wants to, can knock him out. I think Antonio Tricoli is a little bit clumsy when it comes to the stand-up. I think he doesn't really know what he's doing. I think he relies heavily on his grappling, and I think that's where he gets most of his decision and submission wins from, where he lands a couple things on the feet and then just shoots right for a takedown. And Trejan Gore is a guy who's not going to let you do that. Lost to Cody Brundage via an overhand right, which is really nicely placed. Lost to Brian Battle, and then you look at his resume: Gilbert Urbina knockout in the Ultimate Fighter. Newman, who's kind of shit, but he's still out there fighting sometimes. He hasn't fought in 2 years, but he's still half decent. And he has wins over guys who are better than, I think, Antonio Tricoli. And Tricoli's only beaten these kind of bum dudes inside the, shitty, just not great places, dude. Wait, Tricoli failed. Yeah, I forgot about this. He also failed a drug test when he neck cranked this fucking shitter inside of, Contender Series. I don't even know how Kenneth was a favorite here, but it is what it is. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next on the prelims. Anyway, I think Trejan Gore is gonna be able to just out grapple him and out strike him for 3 rounds. I don't think it's gonna be a big problem for him, especially as a minus 180 is decent. Just Tricoli, I don't think deserves to be in the UFC at this point. We're gonna move on next in the prelims. Cortavius Ramos versus Gaston Bolanos or Bolanos, whatever, Bolanos. I'm going with Cortavius Ramius. Gaston has problems with wrestlers. Ramius is a really good wrestler. He was able to defeat Aaron Phillips, which arguably Aaron Phillips looked like he was kind of putting on a masterclass in the grappling, was able to take us back in the third round, was landing just not enough ground and pound to win the rounds, but it showed that Gaston had a clear big hole in his game. And I think Cortavius, even when he gets taken down himself, he has an incredible jiu-jitsu to the point where he's able to sweep by locking up arm bars, triangles, whatever. There's been in the Contender Series debut against Michael Imperato, he was doing that exact thing, or sorry, not debut, return after losing to Ramon Taveras. He was able to perform a sweep inside the second round and just leave Michael completely gassed after he worked so hard for a takedown against him, and just ended up beating the shit out of him for the next 10 minutes. I think he has a really good chance inside this fight. I think Gaston's just underwhelming, to say the least. I think Cortavius is just a little bit smaller, so a lot of people don't like him as a fighter. He's 5'4", fighting in the 135 division, where you're fighting guys like Sean O'Malley. He's 5'9", 5'10". You're getting guys who are even 5'11". You're getting these super tall guys where the beatdown really starts to come when the smaller guys can't get the takedown anymore because you're so long, and you're just left with a big fucking problem as the smaller fighter. But Cortavius Ramius, against 5'7" Gaston Bolanos, I think he has a good shot. I think he's just going to wrestle fuck him. I think Gaston's going to get kicked out of the UFC at this point after this. He wasn't really that great fighting inside Bellator. It's just dude, he's losing to guys he shouldn't be losing to be honest. Lost to Hatley Jr., who's fucking terrible. Literally one of the worst fighters. Fucking recently at least. And Gaston lost to him. And it's a split decision, which shouldn't even be a split. You should be taking these guys out, especially if you're if you really want to be inside the UFC, you need to be taking these lower level guys out. Cortavius Rami has showed that he's here to always be looking for a finish, always be looking for a way out of the fight early, and Gaston just doesn't seem to be doing that. He seems to be content with decisions, and Cortavius isn't content with that. I think he's going to force the pressure and just force Gaston into an uncomfortable position to where he taps or gives up inside the second round. It just seems like it's going to happen. We're going to move next on the prelims. Melissa Mullins versus Claudia Segula. We're picking Melissa Mullins, but if Segula can stop the takedowns, it just seems like Melissa Mullins' gas is out of the first round. In each of her UFC fights inside the second round or inside the first round, when she's in her corner, she has her hands on her hips. She's breathing really heavy. She looks like she doesn't really want to be there. Coming into the second round, inside that first fight inside the UFC arena, Alexieva, whatever, fuck, Jesus. She was able to secure the takedown inside the second round, and she looked like she gained a lot of confidence. When she fought Nora Cornell, bro, she didn't grab that takedown, and it just... Did I just hear something from my phone? No, I think we're good. I thought I heard something from my phone. My bad, guys. Anyway, Melissa Mullins, she looked like when she got that takedown on Alexieva, it just looked like she was coming into her own. And then when she didn't get the takedown on Nora Cornell, it just looked like she faded. It looked like she gave up. It looked like she didn't want to be there. It looked like if she can't win the fight here, how is she going to win the fight? She got reversed on by Nora Cornell, and she just looked completely dazed. She didn't know what to do. And she got knocked out because of it. It was unfortunate, but it was a really good beatdown from Nora Cornell. I just think here, Melissa Mullins, really, really good takedown artist, really good wrestling, going to hold Claudia against the cage, force her to stay away from the striking, wear on her a little bit, hopefully just take away all that power. But Claudia's a really good underdog here if you're in the betting side. Plus 200 is kind of crazy. Melissa Mullins kind of got exposed last fight. But Nora Cornell's decent enough where I don't think it's a huge exposure. I just think she needs to work on her cardio. We're going to move next in the prelims. Cody Stamann versus Damon Blackshear. We're picking Damon Blackshear, just better wrestler. It seems better on the feet, more powerful, fought better opposition, lost to guys that are way better than any of the guys Cody Stamann's beaten. Eddie Wineland, like, come on, bro. Lacerda, like, okay, like, I guess, whatever. It's just like, Damon Blackshear finished him, bro. You can't be decisioning the guys that Damon Blackshear's beating the shit out of, because Damon Blackshear's going to take Cody Stamann to the ground and probably choke him out. Probably what's going to happen. I think he's just superior in the grappling. I don't think Cody Stamann's has any business being here with Damon Blackshear. I think it's a good layup win for Damon Blackshear, where Cody Stamann's going to come in, have his cardio, try and push the pace, and it's just not going to work because Damon Blackshear has the same type of shit. He's gonna take his position inside the UFC. 3 in a row. Cody Stamann probably gonna get kicked out of the UFC, fighting out of Sparta, Michigan. Unfortunately, we're gonna see him probably leave. Damon Blackshear, man, 5'10", 72 inches of reach, really utilizes the jab, really nice, really impressive jiu-jitsu. Cody Stamann has a lot of problems inside this fight. I think he has some of the toughest opposition that he's ever had, and it's in Damon Blackshear, who is coming back after a knockout loss against Montel Jackson, where he didn't even get to show off any of his skills, man. I think he's coming back, and he's coming back with a vengeance, and I think Cody Stamann's going to have a big problem in this. I think the grappling is going to fuck him up bad. We're going to move on next on the prelims. Charles Radke versus Matthew Samuelsberger. I want to pick Charles Radke, bro. But it's just like Samuelsberger is decent everywhere, defeating Jake Matthews, kind of exposing Jake Matthews, AJ Fletcher, just not having the wins that you'd expect recently. Preston Parsons defeating him, which is kind of sad. Charles Radke getting knocked out by Carlos Prates last time around. Impressive grappling and stuff, a decent stand-up. It's just, can Radke keep it on the feet and abuse a Matthew Samuelsberger who looks like he's getting worn on, man. He just looks like he can't deal with it anymore. He looks like he's not improving. He looks like he's in a standstill. If Charles Radke improved from this Carlos Prates fight and learned to not fucking stay in the pocket as long as he did with longer fighters, he will benefit in this fight. And the problem is Matthew Samuelsberger's a longer frame guy, and if he has the same problems that he did with Prates that he does with Samuelsberger, you're going to get a fight where Samuelsberger uses his knees, uses his kicks, and you have a Charles Radke that tries to step in and he just can't do anything. Especially because he's 5'9", man. He's smaller. He has to get in there. And Samuelsberger's decent on the feet, where we're not going to the ground. We're going to stand up. And if Samuelsberger can lay off some of these big combos that he's done before, he's going to fucking piece up Radke. And it makes it tough to pick. It makes me want to pick Semelsberger, to be honest. And I think I might pick Semelsberger. I think for now. Oh, fuck, man. The Morono loss, though, is just bad. I think, fuck. Eric Onder lost to Eric Anderson grappling. Like, it's just sad shit, dude. This is just bad. Like, Blood Diamond beat Blood Diamond, Gilbert Urbina. Like, these are just not great wins. I'm going to say Matthew Semelsberger just because Charles Radke's kind of unproven. Got his ass whooped by Carlos Prates in the first round. We all knew that was going to happen, too. It's just like, oof. Like, I don't know, man. I need to see more from Charles Radke for me to pick him inside this fight. Matthew Semelsberger is decent enough to where he's been inside the UFC long enough for me to be confident in his MMA ability. He's not an incredible fighter, but he's also not terrible. He's not bad. And I think he is in a fight here where he has a chance. I think Charles Radke's a decent matchup for him. I think these guys are more a lot similar than a lot of people think. And I think Charles Radke hasn't proven anything, man. He's had 2 fights inside the UFC. One against Blood Diamond, who's out of the UFC, who's terrible. And and he got uppercutted and fucking KO'd in his last fight. And then Gilbert Urbina, who is also like not that great. Like, we need to see more from him as well. Anyway, we're going to move on next in the prelims. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Dusko Todorovic. And we're going Malik because Malik was on the Contender Series, bro. Fighting Wes Schultz, who's incredible in the ground game, and just nulled everything. Wes Schultz is really good everywhere. He nulled everything. He's knocking out everyone. He was knocking out bums, and then he fights Wes Schultz, who's an actual fighter from, I believe, Canada. Don't quote me. No, not Canada. Wisconsin. I think he was just an underdog in that fight, right? Wes? Oh my god, he was 3-1 or 4-1. It's just this is gonna be a stand-up fight, and you're fighting, and Dusko is fighting. He's been fighting in the UFC for a while. He's just not really improving. He's still the same type of fighter. Still like a round 1 or bust type of shit. Like where we're swinging. We're gonna be swinging, and Malik is just really big. He's really long. And the whip from his punches, I think, is just going to take Dusko out. I think he's just going to have so much power inside this first round. I think it's going to go under half a round. I think Mansour Abdul Malik is going to get into a firefight really early. I think he's going to take Dusko out. And I think we're going to see a really quick victory from Mansour Abdul Malik, who makes his UFC debut in the Apex. It's just I don't see a way Dusko can win. I don't see a way Dusko can grapple him because it's not going to happen. Mansour is just going to fucking counter it. And losing to Gregory Rodriguez by decision it is actually very indicative that this might go the distance. It's just I think Mansour's this good, man. He just seems this strong. He seems like even when he gets into the later stages of the fight, after not being in a second round ever in his fight, he has perfect cardio and he's fucking whipping punches from his hip and he has no problem. He doesn't have a problem. He's getting grappled and he's still counter grappling and getting on top and laying out ground and pound. So Dusko's gonna have a big night. And he's in for a fucking treat because Mansour Abdul Malik is one of the most impressive fucking middleweights I've seen in a while. And if he doesn't get checked here and if he doesn't get exposed, he's on the way to some fucking heat, man, in the 185 division. Next in the prelims, we have top of the prelims is Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos versus Zach Scroggin. We're going Elizeu. I mean, I don't know how you don't pick him. He's fought the best of the best. Given Rinat Fakhretdinov one of his toughest fights, Randy Brown decision. We know Randy Brown can get into a flow state, look like a fucking robot. Abdulbakar Nurmagomedov, also really decent. Beat up Benoit Saint Denis. Muslim Salikov took him to a split decision, which arguably I thought he won. Lost to the Leech in the third round, which was a bad knockout. Beat up Sean Strickland in welterweight, I believe. He's just lost to Nicholas Dalby, who's really decent. It's just Zach Scroggin, man, making his UFC debut. Actually, you know what, man? This is tough, actually, because you're seeing a lot of guys that come into the UFC now who have a lot of grit, a lot of love for the game, been training for a long time. This guy was undefeated out of amateur, undefeated in his professional martial arts, and he's fighting out of a decent camp in Marathon MMA. He's fighting... his head coach is Trey Ogden. Yeah, Elizeu actually might have a fucking problem here. Because I think Zach is actually not that bad. I think I've actually seen one of his fights, or two of his fights. He's actually not that bad. He's really well-rounded. He's 28 years of age, man. He's only improving. And Elizeu is 37 years of age, almost 38. Most of these fighters who reach 37 years of age and they're in this same age range, man, it's like 71% of them lose. And that's because they're getting to the age where they're starting to slow down. And these young bucks can fucking keep up. Even if they're worse in skill range, they have so much stamina and cardio, they can just fucking go forever. I think Zach Scroggin actually might give Zaleski a really big problem. I think, yeah, he's 6'3", bro, 74 inches of reach. He might give Elizeu a big fucking problem. This is a crazy fight, actually. Actually, we're gonna switch. We're gonna go Zach Scroggin. I think Zach Scroggin is gonna outpiece Elizeu. I think Elizeu is gonna have a problem on the feet. I think he's gonna get outpieced up. I think he's gonna be a bit slower. I think Zach's gonna take him down a couple times. I think he's gonna utilize the grappling. I think he's gonna keep Zaleski on his ass. I think he's gonna keep him on the back foot, not let Elizeu do any of that shit where he lets you come forward and then he'll blitz you and then he'll try and back you up, keep you against the cage. We're gonna see a Zach Scroggin who's confident in his ability with Trey Ogden under his belt, the Canadian GOAT. Not really, but you know what I mean. A really good fighter. I think he's gonna come in here strong, man. Hey, wait, is Trey Ogden Canadian? I thought he was. No, I don't think he is, actually. What am I talking about, dude? I'm just talking out of my ass at this point. Who am I thinking of? Trey Ogden Canadian. It's not Trey Ogden. Who's the dude? Who's the grappler? Like the grappler type of guy that's a fucking Canadian. I can't remember his name. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. Drop it in the comments if you got it. We're going to move on to the main card now, starting off with Luana Pinheiro versus Jillian Robertson. We're picking Jillian Robertson. It's not even a fucking question. Pinheiro sucks. She's actual ass. Getting choked out by Angela Hill by a mounted guillotine. Angela Hill's never had a fucking submission win in her life. How the fuck do you give her first one by mounted guillotine? What are we doing here? She looked terrible. Looked absolutely awful. I believe she fought out of Contender Series, or not Contender Series. Yeah, actually, she is Contender Series. There you go. Split decision with Michelle Waterson Gomez. Okay. Sam Hughes win. Yeah, whoop-de-fucking do. You have nothing. Jillian Robertson's way better. The pothead's going to beat the fuck out of her, and she's going to probably choke her out. I think Jillian Robertson's going to get an armbar. I think she's going to get Pinheiro down inside the second round after she beats the shit out of her inside the first round with some easy grappling, almost choke her out. Get to a second round. She's just going to go for the armbar. Jillian Robertson, really fantastic on the ground. Really decent on the feet. She's really starting to improve. I was really impressed after the Tabitha Ricci loss. She went back to the drawing board and got a knockout right after. Looked really impressive, and now she's fighting Luana Pinheiro, who's basically a layup. We're fighting a girl who they want out of the UFC. She has a number 13 ranking. This is the way to get her out of the UFC. This is Jillian Robertson's way to get higher into the rankings, get into that top 10 territory, and just kick out Luana Pinheiro, who doesn't deserve to be inside the UFC anymore. I don't think Pinheiro's going to fight anymore. I think we're going to see Jillian Robertson take her over, and we're going to see Robertson make a title run at 115, where we need some new blood, because it's just getting fucking stale at this point. We'll move on next on the main card. We have Gerald GM3 Mearshart versus Renan de Ritter, who's used to be the one champion, losing to Antonio Malikin, whatever, twice. Retired inside the second fight after getting knocked out in the first. GM3 probably going to choke him out. De Ritter is most likely going to rock Mearshart, and most of these guys, what they do is they rock guys and they go in and they just rush, and Ritter's also a really decent grappler, so when he gets a knockdown, he's probably going to rush because he's confident in his ground ability. GM3 is just super fucking good in the ground, bro. Super good. And De Ritter hasn't fought the level that the UFC is, right? We're fighting different level guys here. Antonio Malikin is pretty good, but Malikin's not even fought the best of the best. We're fighting fucking bums, okay? We're fighting bums inside one. You haven't fought anyone. Come to the UFC, and how about you come try that shit and fight inside the UFC? I bet you get your ass fucking whooped. Absolutely fucking whooped. If Malikin came to the fucking UFC, bro, if he came to the UFC and he fought, he would get his ass absolutely fucking nailed to the cross. Gerald Mearshart probably going to choke him out, but De Ritter, again, he's very decent. I'm not disrespecting him. I don't want to disrespect him. He's a minus 280 fucking favorite. I'm just saying GM3 really good on the ground. Edmund Shabazian win is indicative of that, seeing as Shabazian knocks him down, hurts him, tries to finish him. GM3 knows he's going to try and get finished. GM3 knows he's not good on the feet. GM3 knows he gets rocked every fight. He knows this shit. He literally goes into the fight aware of it, and he wants you to rock him so that you rush him. He wants it. He's not as rocked as you guys think he is. He gets dropped, yeah, but he's still there. He locks up the submission every time. If he was that rocked, he wouldn't be not locking it up at all. We're gonna go with GM3 because I don't know much about the Ritter until I see him fight better opposition. I can't pick him. We're gonna next on the main card, Ricky Turcos versus Bernardo Sopaj. We're going Bernardo Sopaj looked like a world beater against Vinicius Oliveira. Looked absolutely fantastic. Looked the best I've ever seen anyone against Vinicius Oliveira up until this point. Ricky Turcos, tough loss against Ayman Zahabi. That's Ayman Zahabi 2 years ago. I think Ayman Zahabi now is a fantastic fighter. I think Ayman Zahabi 2 years ago had a lot of work to do. Ricky Turcos wasn't able to get through that. Fighting Kevin Navidad, who's not that great, and then getting choked out by Raul Rosas Jr., I believe, inside the first or second round. It was. I thought it was the first round. It was the second round. Under 1.5 rounds hit. I remember that because I was freaking out. It's just, I need to see improvement from Ricky, and when you see guys at Team Alpha Male, bro, you don't see the improvement as fast as you'd like. Uriah Faber, fantastic coach. Bernardo Sopaj's corner is also very decent. It's just his cardio is in question at this point. And if Bernardo Sopaj comes in with good cardio, he's going to look amazing, bro. He had fantastic grappling. He looked like he was able to just fucking ragdoll Vinicius Oliveira. And Ricky Turcos is going to have a really good takedown defense to be able to even deal with that, because it looked absolutely fucking stunning. It looked like Sopaj had a world-class, world-renowned grappling inside that fight. He just looked like he was able to piece him up on the feet, set it up with the hands, and then go right for the takedowns and get it easy. Ricky Turcos is going to be his toughest fight probably yet. Vinicius Oliveira, again, really tough power puncher, but you're fighting Ricky Turcos, who's like good everywhere, right? This isn't just a one fucking sided fight. We're gonna move on. Next on the main card, we have Carolina Kowalkiewicz. Oh God, Jesus, Carolina versus Denise Gomez. We're going Denise Gomez. She's going to knock her the fuck out. Denise Gomez, very heavy puncher. Carolina, whatever, got knocked out by, whatever her fucking name is. What's her name? Jessica Andrade, first round, like within 2 minutes or something. Denise Gomez, heavy-handed, gonna knock her the fuck out. That's all I got. Bro, she was able to knock out Yasmin Yaragui, who got exposed for having no chin. Carolina has no chin. She's gonna get knocked out. I don't think she's ever fought someone with the hands like this. She got hurt by Vanessa Demopoulos, rocked her. I remember that. Hurt her pretty bad. Almost dropped her on the feet. And Denise Gomez is here to fucking end it. And she's probably going to be like a plus 500 on the knockout. There's not much to talk about there. You're going to see Denise Gomez probably end up with a ranking after this fight. You're going to see her in the 15 because she's absolutely fucking stunning. She just doesn't really have the mix-up ability. She just has really heavy hands. If you stay up on the feet with her, she's going to just win. She throws from the hip, fucking knocks people shit solid every single time. And it's always impressive. Next, we have the main or co-main event of the evening. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Cody Garbrandt versus Miles Johns. We're going Cody Garbrandt. Miles Johns hasn't fought anyone of this level yet, and I'm still trustworthy in a Cody Garbrandt who is championship caliber. He was champion. He did defeat a world-renowned fighter in Dominic Cruz, one of the greatest of all time. And he's fighting Miles Johns, who's coming off a really big win streak, knocking out... Who did he knock out before? He knocked out someone, right? Yeah, he knocked out Navidad and Dos Santos, and having three wins in a row. You have Cody Gibson, who towers over him completely, and he was able to out-grapple him. You have Douglas Silva d'Andrade, again, another fight where they're similar, but De Silva's better in most areas, especially in the stand-up, but Miles Johns overcomes it. And you have Cody Garbrandt now, who is obviously more superior in the stand-up, and we just have to see if Miles Johns can get over it. Miles Johns is a favorite here, and I don't like him as a favorite. I like the underdog side, especially if you're betting money on it. It's kind of tough to bet Miles Johns, who hasn't fought anyone that is even close to the level Cody Garbrandt is. This is championship level. This is a real test for Miles Johns. This is Miles Johns' toughest fight ever in his entire life. Maybe the Mario Bautista fight was his toughest fight, but up until now, you haven't fought nothing like this. This is real shit at this point. You're fighting a guy who has real knockout power. You're fighting a guy who has real capability to end your fucking life in the octagon, because Cody can mix up everything. He can drop you 50 times. I mean, he has pillow hands, but he can fucking, he'll do it. He'll do it 1,000 times. He don't care. We're going to move on next on the main event. We have Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates. We're going Carlos Prates by knockout inside the first round. Neil Magny getting knocked out last time around by Michael Morales inside the first round. Couldn't get through it. Couldn't handle the pressure. 37 years of age, starting to get a little bit chinny, it seems like. And Carlos Prates hits like a truck. Almost 100% knockout rate, 75%. He's on like a fucking, how many in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 knockouts in a row, including a knockout over Leach, who's never been knocked out before. Carlos Prates is going to end his life. He's going to end him in the octagon. He's shorter. He's not even longer, and Carlos Prates is going to get into range. He's going to get into the rhythm, and it's going to end within the first 5 minutes. This guy's a chain smoker. This guy's from Brazil. This guy's from the real shit. He's from Sao Paulo, and I don't think he's here to mess around. I think he's here to go home early. I think he wants his paycheck, and I think he wants to go back to smoking the cigarettes in the back, because I think he has a problem with his nicotine addiction inside the octagon. He looks like it's a little bit itchy in there, and the longer the fight goes, the fucking more he swings, and the more he wants to get out of there because he wants a cigarette. I got Carlos Prates by wanting a cigarette inside the first round. That's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'll be dropping, I think, the best bets this week. I didn't do it the last 2 weeks because they were kind of terrible, to be honest. The bets were absolutely awful. I think this week I'll do it if you guys are on the betting side. And if you guys aren't, it is what it is. I'll see you Saturday for the live stream. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'll see you all later. Peace.